Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Allure of the Poor, sponsored by Dracaena Wines. Today, I swear I am sitting here in California, but I really wish I was face to face here because today I have Cristian Vallejo of VIK winery in Chile. And I would love to be in Chile. I have never had the opportunity to be there, and it's on my bucket list. My bucket list is rather large, but I want to go. I want to go. So, but at least I can meet you virtually. So, welcome, Cristian.
Well, thank you very much for that introduction. Very happy to be here with you, and also said that you are more than invited here. We have a beautiful hotel in the property, so once you want to go to Chile, you know where you have to go.
All right. Okay. As soon as I can, man. I'm bolted in. That's awesome. That's awesome. So we actually met on Instagram. And I was out looking for Cab Franc producers to help support Cab Franc Day. And you replied, and then we just started talking in those DMs
Yes.
in Instagram. So you have to love social media because it definitely makes the world a much smaller place. And so first of all, tell me tell me a little bit about yourself first, and then we'll get into Chile and all of that stuff. So give me your background, your origin story.
Well, with my family, we are growers. We produce grapes for, to make wine, but we are not producing wine already, at this time. So wine has been on the table always. Since I'm a child, I saw the wine on the table, and wine was something that created that atmosphere where everybody, share thoughts, everything. Wine is something that it's part of the culture in my family. And when I was in the university and I had to choose my specialty in terms of agriculture, I chose winemaking. And the first day that I was there in the winemaking, class, I knew that this is for me because it's the only natural product that put together nature and man as a human being. That's what I want to say. And it's something that you create from the nature. It's something that you really have to understand the nature, read the nature, and come up with something that everybody will love or don't. So it's like a paint. It's like a paint. Somebody loves, for example, for me, it's really, in Spain, when I was working there, and you go to Barcelona, you have a lot of Gaudí. Miro for me is something spectacular, but there's some people that they don't like it. They don't like him, Well, wine is like that. Some people love your wine, some people don't. I used to learn a lot from the people that they don't like it or they have something objective to say. And that's what I like, because wine finally put everybody together, in the good moments or don't. But it's always wine shares those moments that you keep in mind forever or in your heart, right? And since then, I've been working in Chile for already, I have to say that, 25 years. But I have been very lucky to travel all around the world making wine. I've been in Napa in 1999. I've been in Spain in La Conca de Barbera in 2001. In 2003, I worked in Chateau Margaux. In 2004, I worked in Chateau Le Ville-Poiferret. 2005, I worked in Italy and also in France in Chateau Berliquet, San Emilio, and in Italy in Cantina Toblino in the north of Italy. And then I came again to Italy and I repeat Bordeaux in Chateau Le Croc, which is Bordeaux Classé. So I did Fair Cru Classé, Deuxième Cru, Berliquet, which is à côté, that's French, which is the neighbor of Chateau Pavie. So I've been lucky to learn from different cultures what wines means for them. And so what I learned, I bring it here. And now I'm since 2007 working with the VIK family, and I've been producing wine with them in a different way that you can find in Chile. and I've been using all those things that I learned in the different countries, in the different cultures, and in our terroir. And we're producing now a wine that is considered one of the, I don't know, sometimes when you say that,
from what I've
like
read,
something.
It's one of the top wines in Chile. So
Yeah.
you might not want to say that, but I've read quite a bit, and that's what it says.
Yes.
It's being one of the most well-respected wines coming out of Chile. So kudos to you. I guess taking all those trips around has paid off.
Yes. Yes.
You were in Saint Domingue. That's one of my favorite places on earth. I absolutely love it there. So being in all of those places, and yes, taking in all of that knowledge and all of that, though, like, there's got to be similarities between I mean, making wine is basically making wine, but each
Yes.
area has their own little tweaks and things like that. What would you say is like one of the, when you saw it, you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Well, that's a very good question, and yes, I learned some things from each culture. For example, France, it was about viticultural aspect and tannins. So they work the vines till the harvest, and that's where you make wine in the vineyard, and that's my philosophy too now. I learned it from them, and then tannins in the winery. Napa, it's more about the technology that you use at that time. I'm talking about 1999, so everything changed, right? But at that time, it was to use the technology to help you to make better wine. So I learned a lot of different techniques there. I bring a lot of different machines to help, how to make wine, like for the pump overs or things like that. Italy was about the perfume of the wine. So I went there to learn how to get that beautiful perfume, because Italy, except for some Chianti or some Toscanos, they are not big wines. They're more about a beautiful aroma and perfume, right? So I went there to learn how to get that beautiful perfume. And from Spain, I learned that traditional aspect to produce wine in a very, like in the old days.
Nice.
Well, I learned a lot from the different cultures. I make beautiful friends, those friends that you never forget, even that maybe you don't talk with them in 1 year. But when you saw them, it's like a big hug, like you have it really in your heart.
Oh, that is amazing. And I think that's something that's very different. Like, I mean, I would love to work a harvest someplace other than here, I think that it's so exciting and so such a educational experience just to see how things are done similarly and differently, and you're still making wine, so it's pretty cool to see how other regions treat their vines.
Yes, it's amazing, but there's something in common, that wine is something that makes everybody to get together. It's part in every culture. Wine is present in the best moments, and those moments get in your heart and in your mind forever. That's
Absolutely.
something that in every culture you can get that.
I love that. That's beautiful. So I have to do a little stalking. In Forbes magazine, the article states a newcomer to the super Chilean designation is VIK, founded by Norwegian Uruguayan billionaire Alex VIK. So tell us about Alex VIK. First of all, I've never known a billionaire, so that's kind of cool. But tell us about him, and how did you guys come together for you to start making wine for him?
Well, I will tell a little bit our story and how we get together, and that shows the personality of the family of Alex and Carrie VIK. She's very important also in the family and in our winemaking too. She's always present. Both are beautiful person, that very close to us. They are very involved. They love wine. They love art, and they love hospitality. When I met the family in 2006, they were looking for 2005. They were looking for a property to make wine and to be part of the pantheon of the best wine of the world. That's the goal. And they were looking a place or a terroir in France, Argentina, Chile, different places. But finally, they decided to come to Chile. They found our property, which is 4,300 hectares, but 300 hectares planted. And we have 6 different valleys in the property, a beautiful influence of the ocean coming in. And the first thing that I love from them, from Alex and Kerry, is that they were very clear about what they want. They want to start from the beginning. Maybe it was easy to buy something, but no, they want to create something from inside with a different philosophy, very focused on quality. So they are very involved. They were wine lovers with a lot of information, but it's different when you are a grower. When you are a grower, you have to understand the wine in another way, because yes, he's a billionaire. He works, he makes his money in Wall Street, but Wall Street is like second by second, you have opportunities. In wine, is 1 per year. Same for the winemakers, right? We have 1 opportunity per year. So right. Since you are working when you have 25 years old till, let's say, 65. So you have 40 opportunities in your life. You can have 40 in Wall Street in 1 second, right? So this is totally a different business. And for them, it's more a family thing than a business. They know this is a very long term. And they know that here the business or this is more about passion. It's more about the family issue. It's more about their name. That's why they call it VIK. VIK is the last name of the family. So they are very involved. They're people that they love to be very deep, go very deep in everything with information, but also with passion. That's why they love art. And when they decide to go into this adventure at that time, or this dream, they were already, they have a big collection of art, and they were very involved about art and hospitality. And they feel that they need wine to make the whole connection. So when you come here to our hotels, you will see art everywhere. And that connection about wine and art. And, I was saying that wine is the only thing that make that connection between man and nature. And you have 2 authors, the winemaker, could be he or she, and the nature. And this is what they also see. It's this connection with nature, this ability to make something different from a different terroir. They connected this all to art. That's why we have 2 bottles with a piece of the label is a piece of art originally. And they're really, really passionate about what they do, what they love, and very involved. That's what I like. They are always present and very, very, very close to us. They are just, they live in States, but it's like you have it here. They live in Connecticut, in fact. Okay. But it's like you have it here because they're really connected to us. They love this.
That's beautiful. And I saw pictures of the winery. First of all, it's underground. There's a reflecting pool that is just brilliant because it functions to cool the barrels. I mean, it's well thought out, well conceived and thought to be sustainable, and very nice to Mother Nature, but wonderful to make the wines in. So can you talk about the winery a bit, like the design of it and all of the features that make it like incredible?
Well, thank you for that. Yes, that since the beginning, when I met them, I was working in a winery in Chile for 10 years. I've been in 2 wineries in Chile, and that family was involved in wine for a long time. But I met them. I just stopped in the property. There was nothing. I feel that they're the passion about wine, what they want. The terroir was amazing for wine, but at that time there was nothing. But you see the conditions and everything, but getting together. But one thing, this is what I'm talking about. This one thing was really important, that they want to be very aware about every detail. So when we start to work doing different things, high density in the vineyards, 5,500 plants per hectare to 10,000 like in Bordeaux. Nobody in Chile has 100%, 10,000 plants per hectare. Everything grafted. You don't need rootstock in Chile because we don't have phylloxera, but anyway, we have it because it's more precise for the moment of the harvest in terms of the tannins. We have been doing different things, but something really important was that in one moment we realized that our way to work was holism. That comes from Aristotle and says that the whole is more than the sum of each part. And in this whole, something very important for them was to be very, very respectful with the nature. Our property is like something that we have to take care about it. We have to really have to be and have to think very green. And so when we built the winery, the hotel, every building that we built was thinking about sustainability. So for example, you were saying that our warehouse is underneath a water mirror. It's under the ground. So in that way, we have the temperature and the humidity without using that much energy. The energy that we spend in recycling that water to cool down the warehouse is like 10 times less than the one that you need to keep the temperature in a warehouse that is outside. The roof, we can work during the whole day without turning any lights on. But the most important thing is that it isolates from outside. So during the winter, it's not that cold. During the summer, it's not that hot. So if I have to cool down a tank during the summer, I have to fight with the temperature in the tank, not with the outside too, you know? So I spend a lot less energy. We harvest during the night. You know that in Chile, we have 10 degrees, 12 degrees during the night. So the grapes arrive naturally at 10 degrees, and I can have 5 days of cool maceration without using energy, because all the grapes comes into the tank at 10 degrees, and I just to keep them at 10 degrees. I don't have to cool them down, which is a lot of energy. Imagine that they arrive at, I don't know, 25 degrees Celsius, and I have to go make them go down to 10. It's a lot of energy. But when you harvest during the night, the nature is doing the job, and they naturally come here to the winery at 10 degrees Celsius, and you don't have to spend energy. So everything was about to be very sustainable. In our winemaking, our wine is, let's say, no intervention, wild yeast. There are no addings, no filtration, no finings. The flavor that you feel is just the terroir and barrels. Well, barrels, they come from France. But now we're working and have a new project, which I call the terroir. It's about to make the barrels from us. And there's something of sustainability there, and something that make that only things that is not from us, which is the barrels, make it from us. So we are toasting the barrel with our own oak that we have in the property. So in that way, in some way, the barrels now became from VIK. You know, I bring the oak from France. We make the barrels, and we toast the barrels in the winery with our own oak, which has around 120 years old. And we're using the one that they're already on the floor. We are not cutting trees. We are those ones that the nature says, your cycle is done. We said, no, it's not done. That tree has something else to say, and we're using to toast the barrel. So now that tree will have, I don't know, 25 more years in a bottle.
Wow.
So it's something a little bit romantic, but it's the only way to make the wine 100% from us.
That's it. That's incredible. And you are the first winery I've ever heard that is doing that. So that is so cool. And so, I mean, so you basically have your own cooperage, and
yes.
Is that you also, or is that somebody else who is putting the barrels together and toasting them?
Well, you know that something very important that it's that I'm very involved. I've been, well, not this last year, but during 2018-19, I went to France. I visited my friends again, all the ones that I met in 2003, 4, 5. But to learn how to make barrels, how to choose the oak, how to choose the trees, and then I realized that, and I'm working with 2 cooperage, that I have to choose the I don't know how to say it in English, in Spanish, the estates. So now what I will do, I go there, I choose my estates, they bring it in a pallet square, they send it to me, I receive that, and I worked the estates to make the barrels. So I turn it, I put both faces, and we toast them.
Wow, that's awesome.
And the machines, they arrived this last year in October, and there are a lot of things very particular in this. That, for example, those trees that they have been lying on the floor for I don't know how many years, they have a natural. The rain has been. Oak has to be 24 or 36 months under the rain in France, right? But this oak has been I don't know how long under the rain in our country naturally. So everything is about to make everything from nature.
That is incredible. I'm blown away by that. It's like I'm stumbling over words, but that's blown away for. And it's got to be so much easier to ship the staves not as a barrel because we all know how much a barrel costs and how difficult it is to physically ship a barrel. So wow, that is truly innovative thinking. So you're actually located in, I don't know if I'm going to say it correctly, but the Milehu Valley?
Millahue, yes, Millahue Valley in the Cachapoal Valley. It's a little bit in the central area, but very close to the coast, in the Cachapoal Valley, yeah.
And then how does that, so let's bring this to my beloved Cap Franc, right? So you've got vineyards of Cap Franc. How does your valley affect the climate, affect what's going on in the vineyard?
Well, if we, in the case of Cabernet Franc, well, I learned about it in France. I love it. Normally, all the great wines, they have Cabernet Franc in the blend. It gives that mineral aspect, that tension in the tannins, that beautiful acidity, makes the wine elegant. But it's a variety or a cepage that you have to be very aware about how to manage the grapes during the year since the prune. So you have to take a lot of effort during the year to keep that balance in the grapes. I always say that balanced wines, it comes from a balanced vine that makes a balanced bunch, and then that balanced bunch, balanced grapes, and that balanced grapes, balanced wine. Exactly. So you have to spend a lot of time in the fields, taking care about how to manage the green area, how to make the green harvest. And for example, we do special things like we cut the shoulders and the tail of each bunch. So you imagine the quantity of work that is that?
Wow.
Yeah, so we really take care about Cabernet Franc because it's a variety that if you have sun, water, and a good soil, it's able to grow a lot. So it's vigorous. So you have to work in order to keep the balance and don't let them grow. You have to make them focus on the ripeness of the tannins of the seeds. So you have to be aware all the year in the vineyard in terms to manage the vines to get the quality. So it's really a variety that it's always with you since the prune till the last bottle you have to be taking care about. And for me, it gives that special aspect to the wine that any effort for me, I don't care. I have to do it for that quality, for that beautiful tannin. Yeah, I have to spend I don't know how many hours with the sun here,
Right.
in the vineyards. I love it because the final result, it's about the effort, it's about love, it's about passion, it's about Cabernet Franc need that, he needs attention.
Yes. He's very spoiled and needy variety. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm going to go back to this because now we drop bunches so that, and we trim back leaves, and we do that so that we are, focusing in on the amount of sunlight that's coming on, because of the pyrazines and that stuff. But I have never heard of cutting the shoulders and the bottom of it. So just go through that for me because I'm completely intrigued by this. What is the thought process of shortening a bunch versus just dropping the bunch that's next to it?
Well, we do in the Cabernet Franc, we do let's say 4 green harvests. The first one is when you choose the shoots. the canes that you will have during the year.
Right.
Once you take one shoot out, you are taking some grape out too. Then the next one, it's about to let one bunch per cane.
Right.
The Cabernet Franc is vigorous. You can have 2 bunches per cane. So before the Verizon, we let just 1 bunch per cane.
Okay.
And before the Verizon, we cut the shoulders and the tail. Then we let them get the color, when the Verizon start. And when you have like 70%, 75% of the Verizon, there are some bunches they're still green. So those ones, they will be green all the time. I mean, green not in color, but will be late. Correct. Till the end. Once they get the color, you will never know which one was the one that it was late. So we take it out again. So 4 times. But the tail and the shoulders, I have a picture there because it's a beautiful thing. I learned this from the guys that they produce grape for the table grapes, to eat.
Right.
And they do that because they know that the quantity of sugar at the moment of the harvest is less in the shoulders and the tail. So that's why they cut it. In that way, they have a very homogeneous bunch. So I thought about that. I read about that. I read about the information, and it's true. Well, I have a picture there if I can share. But when you go in the middle of the Verizon, a big bunch like Cabernet Franc or Syrah or Merlot, also happens in Cabernet Sauvignon, but the Cabernet Sauvignon is more cylinder. Right. So here is more, you can see it better. You will see that the shoulders are green, the middle of the bunch is already red, and the tail is green. So it's easy to cut the 3 points, because right. There, in some moment you have the shoulders green and the tail green.
Right. Well, by the way, for those who are listening, when he's saying easy, he's talking you can see it easily, but that is
yes.
I mean, we've never done that. We drop bunches and but that is painstaking. I can't imagine the tediousness, the time that it must take to go to each bunch and then drop the shoulders and then. And so now you're doing that to average out, to keep the most of the sugar where in reality. So you're getting a better realization of what the sugar level is when you're harvesting than an overall average.
Well, yes, the sugar is the easier measure that you can have. And that's what the table grape producers used to check. Right. For us as winemakers, also sugar is easy to check. The tannins is something that there are no machines for that. Right. The only one is the mouth.
Walking through the vineyard.
Yeah. So when you have to do this when the bunches are green, no sugar. So in that way, you don't have risk about to have fungus. So it's just the shoulders and the tail. But if you go to any vineyard for wine, a red one. Could be big bunches like Syrah or Franc or Merlot, and you have a look during the Verizon. At the beginning of the Verizon, you will see that the bunch start to have color in the middle, and the last part that they are red is shoulders and tail. So that's why it's just cut the shoulders and the tail. You will be sure that those grapes, those berries, will be late.
I love it. I just learned something new, and we harvest Cab Franc. We don't do that. So I'm going to have to start doing a little more research and figuring that out, because that's honestly the first time I've ever heard anybody talk about cutting shoulders and the tail. And that's you coming up with that concept to do that. And are you doing that with the other varieties, or is that specifically for Cab Franc because of its
well, in the property we have 5. Well, in fact, we are the only ones, I think, in Chile doing this also, but it's a lot of work and expensive. But if you are commitment with quality and that's what you want, and that's the philosophy of the family. If we need that to get that beautiful quality aspect, well, let's do it. Alex is also financial guy, so it's not just about spend money. He knows that will make the wine better. so we'll sell more or we'll have better ratings. That in some way that will come back, right? Okay. So we are the only ones, I think, in Chile too. We do that with Merlot and Syrah because they are also big bunches. So we cut the shoulders and the tail.
Okay. I'm so intrigued. I am so intrigued. All right. So as you've been traveling, we go back to Cab Franc. As you've been going traveling, how can you give some similarities and differences between like Cab Franc in Italy versus Cab Franc in Chile versus, our California Cab Franc? What have you seen?
Yeah, where I worked, I found Cabernet Franc in Bordeaux and Napa, and in Italy, I was very in the north, so there was another kind of red varieties like Perol de Go, Lagrein, more kind of a blend between Italian and German varieties. Also big bunches, but nothing to do with not from the family Cabernet, right?
Okay.
Franc, Cabernet, Carmener, and Merlot. They have some genetic that go through, right?
Yes.
Here, because California, and here because of, that some people said that California and Chile, if you can do this with the map, they fit. We have the Pacific Ocean, so we have a lot of similarities. I will tell you after I finish a story when I arrived the first time to San Francisco, and I drove to Napa. But the thing is that here in California, bunches are bigger than in France. And in France, it's more difficult for them to get the ripeness of the tannins. So in fact, that's why they have high density, 10,000 plants per hectare, and a few quantity per vine to let the bunches get ripe. That's why we're using that philosophy in order to produce also a few quantity per vine, get the balance, and get the good quality. So the tannins in California and here, it's easy to get it more ripe because of the time or the hours that we have with sun.
Right.
Bordeaux is different. That they don't harvest when they want. They harvest when they can because of the rains that they have during the harvest. Yes. Every year is less because the global warming and all that. But so the moment is different. When they harvest the Cabernet Franc, the tannins are a little bit more angular, and when we harvest the Cabernet Franc, it's a bit more round. Then when you do all this that we were talking about, working the green area, one parchment cane, cut the shoulders, you also have more round tannins. And the thing is that what you have similar is that mineral aspect and that beautiful acidity that makes the wine very vibrant. And that is something that it's really particular for the Franc. And that is really helpful in the blends too. In my case, and our wines, VIK and Mia Cala, where we use Cabernet Franc, what I expect and what gives the Franc to the blend is that tension in the tannins, that beautiful acidity that makes the tannins like moving round, but they're like moving. So when I say tension, it's like they're using the whole space, but not with weight. It's just, it's like the space. You have the stars all over, and they use all of it, but there's small things that they're using the whole room, right, but there's no weight. And that has that beautiful, gives that sensation of layers that helps the Cabernet Sauvignon to show better the tannins. And that beautiful acidity makes the wine really dynamic. And it's very helpful to keep the wine for a long time. We're talking about wines that you can keep it in your cellar, and acidity is very important in that case. And Franc is really, really helpful. I love it.
And what about the soils? The comparison of soils. What are your soils by you? And how are they? How does Cabernet Franc enjoy those soils? Like, are you irrigating it? You don't need to.
Yes, well, here I have Mia Cala. It's about 13% Cabernet Franc. VIK is a little bit more than that. And Cabernet Franc just to show what I'm drinking.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
Everybody knows like, oh, he's drinking. What is he drinking? I've been drinking the whole glass. and Cabernet Franc, it's a vigorous variety, even in France or in California. So when you have more, tweed, let's say, more clay, water, it tends to grow. So that's why when you want a very balanced vine, you need to be very aware where you're planting your Cabernet Franc. If there's too much clay, then you will have a very vigorous vine. So you need a combination of, let's say, lime, sand, some clay, because clay makes the wine more complex. It's very helpful with the water. In our case, in Chile, we are allowed by law to irrigate.
Okay.
We have since the verizon till the end of the harvest, 120 days. So we need to irrigate, and we are allowed to do it. We're not allowed, for example, to add sugar. In France, they can add sugar, but they cannot irrigate. So every country has their own rules, and we can irrigate. But you have to be very careful with the irrigation in this case because of the same, it's vigorous. So if you give this is like you're on vacation, you have, something to eat, sun, you forget about your work. You just, if you want to eat something, you have it. If you want to go to the pool, you have it. So you forget about the work. If the vines, they have water, sun, a good soil, they don't need to ripe the vines, the grapes, because they have everything that they need.
Right.
So you need to have a little stress. This is like where you're very focused on your work. Not too much work, because if you have too much work, you're overstressed, and then you start to forget everything because where you start, right? But when you have everything in control and you have a little stress, but you are very focused, you make everything quick and very like, here it is, focus on that. For the vines, same thing. So if you have water, sun, you have to be very careful to how many waters you will add. Let's say for balance, you need to irrigate once, then you have to wait, and you have to play with the vines in terms to give them and take it out, and you need balance. You need them to work till the end. I'm not talking about to stress the vines. They have to feel that they need to ripe the tannins.
Right.
And that comes from a natural rule. Every in the nature, the rule is survive for everyone.
Right.
How the vines or the trees survive with the seeds. That seeds will touch the ground and will start a new plants, right?
Right.
So when they feel some.
Oh, and I just lost you. We're gonna hold on and see if you can come back. Okay, so hopefully he can come back in.
Hi, Laurie.
Hi, okay, yay, you're back.
I'm sorry about that. We are very in the countryside, and we have an energy problem in the area, but everything is solved again. So I'm sorry about that.
No problem. It's okay. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna hang out here to see if he comes back, if he's able to come back. So no problem. So we were talking about the vines, and so just to let people know, what is like your typical harvest season in Chile, where you are? You know, when do you typically start and when do you typically end?
Well, normally, if you have whites, you start in February, let's say 10th, first week of February, till May, middle of May, with the last Cabernet. So normally you start with Sauvignon Blanc, then Chardonnay, Pinot Grigio, stuff like that. And then the first red will be maybe Syrah or Merlot. And then you have the rest, Cabernet Sauvignon, Franc, and then Carmener. The Carmener is the last one. Normally you start at the last week of April, and the two next ones in May. So it's about February, March, April, May, 4 months.
Okay. So just kind of, you're over there. So similar to us, just over there, a little reversed. All right. So let's talk pyrazines and Cab Franc. So as you know, we've been talking about how you're training the vines and taking care of it. Is the style of Cab Franc in Chile more like a Loire Valley, where the pyrazines, that bell pepper is there and kind of predominant? Or is it more like us here in California, or I should say not everybody in California, but us in California, where, bell pepper is part of Cab Franc, so it's there, but it's not the most in your face thing. So
yes, in our case, it's more like that. In terms of that, we have since December till May, it's normally we have sun. So if you work the vines in terms to open the canopy at the level of bunches without taking the leaf, the ones in the border, that they act like an umbrella to block the sun, but you have light going inside, you can ripe the tannins, and you will avoid that over exaggerated flavor of pyrazines. You always will have it because it's part of the Cabernet Franc, but will be part of the personality of the Franc without being, let's say, bad, dominant or bad or overwhelming, like too much. No, it has a touch. And then how you work the vines and the gills, everything will be more elegant or less, or you will have more or less of that. But let's say normally it's less than Loire. And kind of like California. In that way, we're very similar.
Okay, so now let's get to what was in your glass. What are you drinking?
Well, I'm drinking now Milla Cala. Okay, this is one of our reds. We have 3 reds, 3 blends. It's about Cabernet Sauvignon, 67%, and 12% Franc. A touch of another 2% of Carmener, and then a touch of Syrah and Merlot. Our main wine, which is thick, it's about 85%, 80%, 79%, depends on the year, Cabernet Sauvignon, and then 20%, 21%, 15%, depends on the year, Cabernet Franc. Always present in our wines. Okay, but so in this case, Milla Cala.
Okay, so you said that VIK only produces 3 wines. You have three wines. And is Milla what? One more time.
Milla Cala. It's coming. We are.
It just clicked.
Yeah, it's Mapudungun language. So it's about our native people, the Araucanos. The language was Mapudungun, and the place where we are, our denomination of origin, our valley where we are, exactly the area, is Millahue. Milla means gold, we place. So it means the golden place. That's how the native people call it a lot of years ago. I'm talking about a lot of years before the Spanish arrived to Latin America, right? So they used to call it like that because it was rich in natural resources for them. Let's say there was a big lagoon, so there was fish, there was mastodons, there was trees everywhere, so they have fruit. So for them at that time, no iPhone, no cars, that was something really, you know, like the golden place. Huh?
Right,
and,
right.
And then we took Milla from that, which is gold, and Cala is the translation of VIK to the Spanish.
Oh,
VIK
okay.
VIK as Vikings means, you know, that in Norway they have a lot of water that goes into the land, very narrow like this. So they used to have at the end, little towns.
Right.
So when you watch Vikings, they have always at the end of this very narrow quantity of straight water going in, they have something, you know. Right. So that's big. It's about something narrow goes into the land, and the translation of that to the Spanish is Cala. So it's Milla Cala, the golden VIK.
Awesome.
It's a playing word. And the funny thing of this is that one of the daughters, her name is Camila.
Okay.
So if you turn this, you have Camila. La Camila.
Yeah. Wow.
And we didn't realize that till when somebody grabbed the bottle and said, but here it says La Camila. And we didn't realize it till we have the label. But that's a part of the story. she was absolutely, wow, I have a wine.
I have a wine named after me.
But it was something that only happens.
Is that considered a different brand for VIK, or does he just have 3 labels and, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Let's say it's we have 3 ranges, but we have 2 style of wines. VIK, it's kind of Bordeaux style, but Chilean. Let's say elegant, leaner, beautiful tannins, but with color, fruit in the nose, very Chilean, but very elegant. And Milla Cala is an introduction to VIK. I always said that VIK is that kind of book, that kind of wine that makes you think, that change in every glass. So I always said that VIK is a book. Every glass is a chapter, every sip is a page. And when you know that author, and you know, normally you read the books that he or she made, and you go to the library to buy the new one, even that you know him or her, before to buy the book, you turn it and you read the abstract, right? Mm-hmm. That's Milla Cala, an introduction to the book.
The introduction, okay. And now, what's your third wine?
Well, we have another one, which is La Pubelle, and it's more New World style. Let's say Napa, Chile, Argentina style, more about round tannins, a little bit more volume in the middle mouth. VIK is really linear, kind of Bordeaux style, but La Pubelle is more about a little bit more volume in the middle mouth without being heavy, but more space in the mouth, more about Carmener. Syrah, so it has those kind of flavors and aromas. So we are very lucky that our terroir has different valleys, and we can have different style of wines. So from one side we have VIK, which is our main wine. Then we have La Pubelle. In terms of prices, VIK is here, then La Pubelle, and then Milla Cala. But VIK and Milla Cala goes one way, as one style, and then La Pubelle is another style.
Okay, and within your valleys, your fruit, is a certain valley kind of dedicated to one of the labels, or is the fruit kind of, all right, we're going to take these barrels, it's going to be VIK, and we're going to take these barrels, and it's going to be, you know, how is it?
No, what I learned from my friends in France is that you have to work your vineyard or your place for your wine. So at the beginning, we were thinking to produce VIK as a very elegant wine, and we have the definition, but with grapes from all over the property. But in 2012, I realized that the Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc were something different from another type of Cabernet Sauvignon. that you can get from Maipo or other valleys. And then I realized that we have in some places with the property where the wind that comes from the ocean has a lot of influence and the temperature is lower, that aspect that we were looking for. And we are getting the Cabernet Sauvignon and the Cabernet Franc for VIK and Milla Cala from those two valleys where the wind comes into the property. Then the other four valleys, we have three that they're dedicated to La Pubelle, which is the temperature is higher, like 1 degree, 2 degrees sometimes Celsius. But that makes it different in the wine. 1 degree Celsius could be in the season, could make another type of grape. So that's another style of wine, and we decide to go with this kind of blend, more New World. And the bottle, the label, it's all about, it's in the whole bottle. I don't have it here, but it's in the whole bottle, and it's a piece of art. So that wine became the family wine in terms that all their passion are in that wine. The wine, the label, because it's art. And the idea became from the hotel. The hotel has different rooms with art. In one room, there a piece of art that is one bottle paint, but a Chilean artist. And so that wine is a different style. It's more about Carmener, more about Syrah, and more New World style. And VIK's another story. But that's the chance that we have with our terroir.
Beautiful. So where can people find, I don't have any to drink, so where can I find some of your wines? How can people get a hold of them?
Well, we are in different wine stores. We are in different restaurants. For example, like Fogo de Chão. We are, I don't know exactly the name of some wine store. I don't remember right now, and also you can find it in our website, and we will send it to you. So it's vikwine.com. And you go in there and you will see the whole all the wines, and we will send it to your home. But you will find it in different wine stores and restaurants.
Okay, so that's really what I was asking. They can go to VIK.com, right? So VIK is VIK.com.
VIKwine, VIKwine.com. Yes.
VIKwine.com, and then that will tell them how to purchase it.
Yes, you can place your order, purchase it, and we will send it to you right away.
All right.
We have a warehouse in state for that, so we take around 4 days or something like that, 5 days to get there.
Not too long.
There are some there were some states where we are still solving some issues, like Illinois and Texas, but in the other ones, we can be there very quick.
Yes. Well, trust me, as American wine lovers, we totally understand the complications of living in certain states and getting wine delivered to those states.
Yes.
It's rough. It's rough. And then what about social media? Now I found you on your personal account. You reached out on your personal account, but does VIK have their, want to just tell people what your account is in case they have any questions, they want to reach out to you? And if VIK has their own account?
Well, we have accounts for the wines and for the hotel. So you can go to VIK Wine, Instagram, VIK Wine. It's ad, right? It's
it's ad, and then VIK Wine.
Ad, and then VIK Wine, or if you want to go and check the hotel, it's at VIK Chile.
Okay.
And you go to the hotel, or you just can, contact me. It's Cristian.Vallejo.Winemaker, and I can ask any questions there. It's my accounts. It's about my passion, which is wine, and in VIK, I've been working with them already 14 years. This year will be 14 years, and
wow.
And it's my baby also. I have been since the beginning here, and we have been working with the family together, and I feel this like my little baby. Every barrel is a new baby, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I just want to say, Cristian, thank you so much for joining me and sharing, your story and Cab Franc in Chile. It is, I am a Cab Franc maniac, and I love hearing stories of how it grows and how it's treated in different countries and different regions. So thank you so much.
Well, I can understand that because I'm also a fan of Cabernet Franc. Thank you so much for this opportunity to talk with you. You already know that you have friends in Chile, so once you decide to come here, please visit us. We will be very happy to receive you here, and we can, share the wines together. You will see the story there and the VIK experience, which is something very particular. Cheers to everybody. Thanks for the opportunity. See you soon.
Slancha. Thank you so